first thing to recognize is that if it ain't working, stop trying to fix it. Okay, stop trying to fix it, because it's in all the fixing and doing that we actually are creating more resistance and more tension.
Gabby Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
Now you can hit me up with our first question.
All right. So this was written in, someone asked, what do you do when you're on a spiritual journey, but your partner is not?
Well, you leave them alone. I mean, listen, you can share your experience. You can talk about what's inspiring and exciting to you. You can introduce them to the books if they're interested. But if they're not, it's just going to disappoint you. So I really mean that. Leave them alone. And if it is a non-negotiable for you, for some people, being in a relationship with somebody who's on a spiritual path is non-negotiable. And so you have to face that and you have to accept that. And maybe you have to do something about that. But I think that the other thing is that while somebody might not be on a spiritual path that looks like yours, they're on a path. We're all spirits having a human experience. So they are indeed on a path. And so the question is less about, are they on a spiritual path or are they on my spiritual path, right? So I think that just being less judgmental and more accepting, and if having somebody be on the exact same spiritual path as you is a non-negotiable for you, then that's something you can consider. Just consider what you want to do with that.
I also think, I know for me, because sometimes I feel that way, like, hey, I want, to share all of it and, do the meditations together.
Carl's like, no, thank you.
Well, he's, like you said, he's got his own journey.
His own thing, yeah.
He's got his own journey and he does his own thing. But I also notice the more I push, the further away he's in, his interest even gets further. So
now, is pushing a sexy energy?
No.
Is pushing a attractive energy? No. Pushing is, whenever you're pushing, and I'm a real pusher at times. I got to be very conscious. You've probably heard me do this, where I'm like, you should do this. And I say, oh, no, sorry. I suggest that you do this, or I suggest this, right? In my experience, this has been really cool. Using more suggestive language is really acceptable, or not acceptable. Using more suggestive language is really helpful, because when you're pushing, God, it's not going to work. No. Not going to work.
It's funny. One of my best friends, his name is Tate, and he's a pusher, man.
Oh, is he?
Oh my God, everything. And we joke because it's like, here comes the Donovan push. And it's like, it's like, it could be the Olympics, it could be the movie, it's like, but
he's passionate.
He's very passionate. Yes.
Yeah. Pushers tend to be passionate people.
Do you have a favorite affirmation?
I think as of today, I do. This is my latest, and it's a prayer. I think this is new for me. It's the serenity prayer. I mean, it's not an affirmation, but it's something I can repeat. So it's sort of like an affirmation. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if you know me as well as you do, Josh, that's a good one for me right now, because it's probably been the most important prayer for me in my life. But I think that in this moment in time where I'm trying to embrace a new way of being and be more accepting of the things I cannot change, and having more courage to just change the things I can and not be pissed off about that. It's a big prayer for me. It's a big prayer for me right now.
And how do you sort of absorb that? How do you because it's, okay, I don't have the ability to change that. I can't. So what do you?
You pray. That's where the prayer comes in, because you're not, a prayer is a conduit for new ideas. So when we're stuck in a belief that we know is not working for us, that's when a prayer becomes a miracle, because it opens up our conscious awareness to see things through a different lens. It temporarily suspends our disbelief. It takes the fear, the control, and it puts it on the shelf and says, universe, take this from me. And in that more receptive state, new ideas can come forward, different patterns or behaviors. Sometimes you have to pray all day just to stay straight.
Well, I love that prayer is a conduit to new ideas. That's genius. Write that one down. How can we learn to trust the universe and surrender control, especially when things aren't going as planned?
When things are not going the way that you planned, that's because there is a better plan. It's when we accept that, it's when we embrace that completely, that another plan can set in. Because when we're trying to control something or we're trying to make it the way that we want it, then we stay in this resistant energy. And in that resistance, we block the miracle. We block the universal energy and the flow and the order and the creativity and the co-creation. So the first thing to recognize is that if it ain't working, stop trying to fix it. Okay, stop trying to fix it, because it's in all the fixing and doing that we actually are creating more resistance and more tension. So take your hands off the wheel, say that if it's not working, it's got to be something better. Universe, reveal to me what is of the highest good for all. Show me where to go, what to do, and what to say. And in that more relaxed state, whatever is meant to happen is revealed. And it can be frustrating, right? Because we want things to be a certain way, and so when we find ourselves frustrated because things aren't working out the way we want them to, the other thing we need to do is stop focusing on what the world is doing and start looking inward and say, what is it within me that needs some attention and some compassion or some healing? Because the world that I see is a reflection of my internal movie screen that I have laid out. We are the directors of our life. We play the movie. We go into that back of that movie theater, we put on the movie and we press play. We set it all up and we press play. And so do we need to go back into the screening room and change the reel? And oftentimes that's the answer too, is that things aren't working out the way that you want because you're playing the wrong movie. You need to check in and see, is it time to change the reel?
I know for me, like I can go down the line and check off like 10 things where I was holding on too tight. And the minute I let go, including meeting you, that's what happened. I let go and we just bumped into like the universe went.
It's exactly the story. That's exactly our story. It's when you let go, you allow. And if you hadn't let go, you might have sent your resume to AJ at the time, and who was doing our HR, and he might have felt some weird energy behind it, and he wouldn't have looked at it. But it was AJ that found you through the pile of job descriptions and people's resumes, and there was an energy. He said, "I don't know why, but I really like this guy." You know, there's of course parts of your resume that were very professional and really exciting to us, but it was something about you that was coming through in that resume, and that's the thing. We forget the currency. The energy is the currency.
Yeah, I mean that was a real life lesson for me because I went about it completely different than I'd ever done anything like that before.
So cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Josh.
How do you surrender to the universe when you're dating?
I mean, it's the same thing I just said, right? It's like when you think you surrendered, surrender more. Stop trying to make it what you think it should be or forcing somebody to be who you want them to be, and surrender. Surrender by offering the prayer daily. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to the partner that is of the highest good. Thank you for revealing to me the relationship that's going to teach me and heal me. Because sometimes in relationships, we don't always get what we want, but we get what we need. And so you may be dating and you find somebody that you are now going to get committed to and it doesn't work out. Okay, well, what did you learn from that? Or you dating somebody and you learn a lesson from it because it was heartbreaking or it was frustrating or you wish you could have showed up differently. Instead of seeing these dates as failures or these relationships that end as not good, say thank you. Thank you for teaching me. You are my greatest teacher. Our relationships, even a 5-minute date or even an encounter on an app is a teaching device. So just stay in that seat of the student and just let these moments teach you and guide you. And have fun. Just be cool. Have fun. That's the secret to attracting really great partners or anything that you want into your life, is to have more fun. The fun person in the room is the sexiest person in the room.
Yeah, I always think about when you say like, when we, particularly in relationships and beginning relationships and dating, like that pushing energy. You're always like, is that sexy?
There's nothing sexy about it.
There's nothing sexy about it.
No, chill the fuck out.
And it's palpable, right? Like you know when that's coming your way. Yeah.
It's a turnoff.
It's a turnoff. How do you show up authentically on social media?
I think that the answer is kind of simple. Like, do you believe what you're saying? when you're posting, are you trying to be seen a certain way? And look, for some people, they use social media for their work, or they use social media to build a brand about themselves and all this stuff that's happening. And so there may be certain tactics or things that you use. But for the most part, if you're using social media to be seen and to feel seen, it's not going to work, because ultimately people can feel that thirsty energy even through the screen.
Right.
So the more vulnerable, the more authentic, it's not about vulnerability necessarily, because sometimes social media isn't a safe place to be vulnerable, but the more genuine you are, the more you are, the more fun you have. It's just another way of communicating to people. The more resonant you will be. And also asking yourself, like, what's my goal here? Am I trying to be seen? Am I trying to feel good enough? Am I trying to get something? Or am I having fun? And look, you can be, like I said, using social media for your business, and you want to get people to take an action or whatever it is. But the more fun you're having and the more genuine you are, the more likely they are to want to get involved and listen more.
Yeah, I think especially now, as things, AI is being part of the equation, like what's real, what's not real. So the importance of what you're saying is really, profound, in the sense of like, you need to be you.
That's right. The only thing we're going to have left is our energetic currency, because that's the thing that a robot can't embody, is the energy. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.